Did you know your brain keeps learning even while you sleep? Yes, as your eyes close and your body relaxes, your mind opens its doors. And guess what walks in? Stories. Listening to English stories before sleep isn't just relaxing, it's powerful. Why? Because your brain absorbs what it hears before bedtime in a deeper, more emotional way. The words don't just sit in your memory, they sink into your subconscious. Each sentence you hear, each emotion you feel, each word you understand, they gently echo through your dreams, building fluency without stress, without pressure. You're not just listening to a story, you're training your brain. You're feeling the rhythm of English. You're hearing real conversations. You're learning how words create pictures. So tonight, don't just scroll, don't just sleep. Listen. Because every night you listen to an English story, you're not just falling asleep. You're waking up a little wiser, a little more fluent, a little closer to the voice you dream of having. Now, get cozy. Close your eyes and let the story begin. The Cloud That Painted the Sky, Part 1. The lonely little cloud. High above the bustling world below, where mountains yawned and rivers glittered like ribbons of silver, there lived a little cloud named Sirra. Kirra wasn't like the other clouds. While most clouds enjoyed floating lazily across the sky or gathering in groups to make rain, Sirra often drifted alone. She didn't puff up with pride like the thunder clouds. She didn't swirl and twist like the storm clouds. She was small, soft, quiet. Every morning, Sirra would watch the sunrise with wide, misty eyes. She loved the way the sky changed colors: rosy pinks, golden yellows, gentle blues. It felt like the sky was a canvas, and someone invisible was painting it with love. One day, as she hovered above a sleeping village, Sirra whispered to the wind, "Who paints the sky?" The wind chuckled, swirling around her gently. "No one paints it, little one. It's just light and air and time." But Sirra didn't believe that. She felt something magical in those colors. She wanted to create that magic too. "Maybe," she said softly, "maybe I can learn to paint." The wind laughed louder. "You? A cloud? Clouds don't paint. They rain, they cover, they pass." But Sirra didn't listen. For the first time, she felt something stir inside her. A hope that shimmered like morning dew. That night, while the stars blinked like sleepy eyes, Sirra floated quietly over a lake. She saw her reflection in the water, pale and puffy, just a wisp in the vast sky. She whispered to the moon, "Do you think I could ever be more than a cloud?" The moon, full and gentle, smiled. "If you dream enough and try enough, you may discover a gift you didn't know you had." And so began Sirra's journey, not just through the skies, but through her own heart. Questions for you. Have you ever wanted to do something that others said was impossible? What colors make you feel happy when you look at the sky? English learning tip. Stories like this help you learn past tense naturally. Ego, whispered, floated, believed. Try reading aloud and noticing the verbs. Lesson. Sometimes, even the smallest ones have the biggest dreams. Don't let others decide what you can or cannot become. Quote of the part: "If you dream enough and try enough, you may discover a gift you didn't know you had." Want to know if Sierra learns to paint the sky? Follow her journey in part 2. And don't forget to comment your favorite sky color, like, and subscribe to Epic English Stories for more magical tales that help you learn English with joy. Part 2. The First Drop of Color. The next morning, Sirra floated above the golden fields where sunflowers turned their faces to the light. She watched the sunrise again, but this time not as a spectator, This time, she imagined herself as the artist. I want to color the sky, she whispered. But how? She had no brush, no paint, no hands. She drifted higher, hoping the wind might carry her somewhere special. And it did. It took her above the mountains where the air was thinner and colder. There, she met a glowing being made of light and dust. It shimmered like morning frost. Who are you? Syrah asked shyly. I am Aura, the being said, a spirit of the upper sky. Syrah gathered her courage. Can clouds learn to paint? Aura looked at her kindly. Painting the sky is not about tools. It's about emotion, passion, imagination. Syrah's foggy form trembled. But I'm just a little cloud. That's exactly why you can paint. Aura smiled. You feel deeply. You see beauty others miss. Then Aura lifted one translucent hand and touched Syrah gently. In that moment, something magical happened. A drop of golden light appeared in Syrah's fluffy center. It sparkled like honey. It felt warm, alive. What is this? Syrah gasped. A beginning, said Aura. Your first color. Syrah couldn't believe it. She spun in delight, and as she did, a trail of soft yellow streamed behind her like a brushstroke in the sky. Down below, a little girl saw the streak and pointed. Mama, look, the sky has a smile. That evening, Syrah returned to the lake and looked at her reflection again. This time, she didn't just see a cloud. She saw an artist becoming. Questions for you. If you had one magical power like Syrah, what would you use it for? Have you ever discovered a new skill you didn't know you had? English learning tip. Look at how dialogue is used with punctuation. Example. Who are you? Syrah asked shyly. Practice reading this aloud to understand emotion and tone. Lesson. You don't need the perfect tools to begin, just the courage to start and the heart to feel. Quote of the part. Painting the sky is not about tools, it's about emotion, passion, and imagination. Are you ready to see what Syrah does with her new gift? Part 3 will take you deeper into her adventure. Don't forget to comment your favorite magical moment, like the video, and subscribe to Epic English Stories for more inspiring journeys. Part 3. Colors in the wind. Syrah couldn't stop smiling. If clouds could smile, that is. She had painted her very first color across the morning sky. A golden stroke of joy, born not from brushes or paint, but from something inside her heart. Now she wanted to do more. But painting with her emotions wasn't easy. One day, she tried to paint while feeling excited, and the sky burst into scattered splashes of orange. Another day, she felt nervous, and the sky turned a strange shade of grayish-green. Once, she even got frustrated trying to control her colors, and it rained tiny sparks of purple mist. The clouds around her began to notice. Why are you leaking colors? A fat rain cloud grumbled. You're making a mess of the atmosphere, another muttered. Syrah's glow dimmed. Maybe I should stop, she said to herself. Maybe clouds really aren't meant to paint. She flew lower and lower until she hovered above a quiet meadow. There, she saw an old man sitting on a bench, looking up at the sky. He didn't frown like the others. He smiled. You again, he whispered. I saw your yellow streak the other day. It reminded me of my wife's laughter. Syrah's fluff trembled. She hadn't known her colors could make people feel something. The old man continued. And today, those orange clouds, they reminded me of the way my grandchildren run in the autumn leaves. A warm breeze circled Syrah as the man closed his eyes. Whoever's painting up there, he said softly. Thank you. Syrah rose quietly, her heart swelling with new energy. Maybe her colors weren't perfect. Maybe she was still learning, but she had touched someone's soul. That night, as stars blinked above, Sarah practiced again, this time with calmness in her core. The sky turned the softest shade of blue, a peaceful blue, a sky for dreamers. Questions for you. Has someone ever encouraged you when you felt like giving up? What color matches your mood today? English learning tip. Look at adjectives describing colors and emotions: golden, nervous, calm, warm, peaceful. Use these in your own sentences. Example: I feel peaceful when the sky is blue. Lesson: your gift doesn't need to impress everyone. It only needs to touch one heart to matter. Quote of the part: whoever's painting up there, thank you. Do you want to see how Sarah's sky painting reaches the world? Don't miss part 4. Comment your favorite color and how it makes you feel. Like and subscribe to Epic English Stories for more magical learning through storytelling. Part 4. The Storm of Doubt. Days passed. Sarah's colors began appearing more often. Strokes of peach at sunrise, trails of silver at twilight, and warm swirls of coral above mountain peaks. Birds chirped under her art. Children pointed to the sky. Some even whispered wishes into the wind, believing the colors came from a magical painter in the clouds. But not everyone was pleased. The Weather Council, a group of large, old, and serious clouds, took notice. High above the world, they gathered in a grey spiral. Rain clouds, storm clouds, and fog banks all churned and rumbled. This cloud is disrupting the balance, growled Nimbus, a thick black storm cloud. She's mixing emotions with the atmosphere, muttered Mistral, the fog keeper. It's never been done, boomed Cumula, the council leader, and never should be. Syrah was summoned. When she arrived, she floated shyly, her glow dimmer than usual. Little Syrah, Cumula rumbled. We've seen your skies. Syrah bowed slightly. Do you not like them? It is not about liking, it is about order. Clouds do not color the sky. That is the job of the sun, the angle of light, the laws of air. Syrah's heart ached. But people feel something when they see the colors. I feel something too. Isn't that part of the sky's purpose? The council roared with laughter. The sky's purpose is not emotion. It's function. Syrah turned slowly, her colors fading to pale grey. The council had made their decision. Return to your clouding duties, they ordered. No more painting. For the first time in her young cloud life, Syrah felt heavy. She drifted away, low and slow. That night, there was no special glow in the sky. No gentle color, just cold stars and a silent moon. In the village below, the old man waited for his evening colors. He waited and waited, but the sky stayed blank. He looked up sadly and whispered, "Where did the painter go?" Questions for you. Have you ever been told to stop doing something you loved? Do you think rules should always be followed, or is there a time to break them for good? English learning tip. Notice how opposites are used for emotion and atmosphere. Glow, dim, warm, cold, laughter, silence. Learn pairs of opposites to build strong vocabulary. Lesson. Even when others don't believe in you, the truth of who you are doesn't disappear. It waits quietly, ready to return. Quote of the part. The sky's purpose is not emotion, it's function. But Cecil, what if emotion is the highest function of all? Will Syrah give up her dream or rise above the council's rules? The answer begins in part 5. If you've ever felt misunderstood, this part is for you. Share your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe to Epic English Stories. Part 5. The Echo of Light. Sira wandered. She drifted far from the villages, the lakes, and the mountain tops she once colored. Her body grew dull, soft, and pale. Not grey like a rain cloud, just empty. She no longer danced in the wind. She no longer dreamed. Each time she thought about painting again, she remembered the council's voice. That is not your purpose. But one evening, as she floated silently above a desert, something unexpected happened. She saw a single child, sitting on a rock, alone, staring up at the blank sky. The sun was setting, but without Sira's colors, it faded dull and flat. The child was drawing with her fingers in the sand. Sira came closer, curious. The girl whispered, "I wish the painter cloud would come back. I miss the colors." Sira blinked. No one had spoken to her like that in days. The child looked up, directly at Sira's pale body. "I know you're there," she said softly. "I still believe in you." Something stirred in Sira's core, a warm golden flicker. It was small, but real. She hovered there, unsure, but hopeful. That night, she couldn't sleep. She floated higher, where the stars sparkled like spilled glitter. There, she met Aura again, the spirit of the upper sky. Aura smiled. "So you've stopped painting?" "I was told I shouldn't," Sira whispered. Aura came closer. "Sira, do you remember your first color?" Sira nodded. "It was golden, like hope." "And who gave it to you?" Sira blinked. "You did." "No," said Aura gently. "You created it. I only helped you see it." Suddenly, Sira understood. She was meant to paint. Not because it was allowed, but because it was true. She looked down at the desert and thought of the little girl. Then, softly, bravely, Sira let one single stroke of gold stretch across the night sky. It was small, it was subtle, but it was real. The girl looked up from her campfire and smiled. "There you are," she whispered. "Questions for you. Is there something in your life you stopped doing because others didn't understand it? What small thing can you do today to bring light to someone else?" English learning tip. Use verbs of feeling and action. Whispered, blinked and stirred, hovered, smiled. Try writing your own short sentence. She whispered and smiled as Hop returned. Lesson. Sometimes one person's belief in you is enough to help you believe in yourself again. Quote of the part. You created the color. I only helped you see it. Sira's courage is growing. But will she ever return to the skies fully? And what will the council do next? Get ready for part 6 of The Cloud That Painted the Sky. If you've ever rediscovered something you love, this part is your story too. Comment your thoughts and subscribe to Epic English Stories so you never miss the magic. Part 6. The Sky Rebellion. The next morning, something incredible happened. Sirra woke with courage in her cloud heart. She floated to a quiet hilltop and waited for sunrise. Then, using only the warmth inside her, she painted the sky with soft peach and rose pink. Villagers far below gasped. "She's back!" shouted a child. "The color cloud!" whispered a farmer. Sira soared higher, confidence rising. She twirled gently, sending ribbons of lavender into the morning air. A flock of birds danced through the color trail, wings glowing. But Sira wasn't the only one watching. Far to the north, in the cold blue air, the Weather Council stirred. "They warned her," growled Nimbus, his thunder crackling. "She defies us again." Cumula frowned. "Let us show her the cost of disobedience." That afternoon, a dark cloud wall gathered over the sea. Thunder rolled, winds howled. It was the largest storm in years. Sarah saw it from miles away and knew. This is because of me, she whispered. She flew toward it. The sky turned black as she neared. Lightning flashed. Rain whipped her soft body. But she didn't retreat. I didn't come to fight, she called into the wind. I came to speak. The storm thundered back. Then listen. Clouds have rules. We protect the earth, not play with it. Sarah stayed firm. But what if color is a kind of protection? What if emotion is how we heal the sky and ourselves? The storm paused. Inside the clouds, other voices began to murmur. She made a child smile. She brought peace with blue. Her colors helped someone remember joy. Even some council members blinked with doubt. And then something unexpected happened. A small rain cloud floated beside Sarah. He was young, barely formed, and trembled. I want to try painting too. Then a fog cloud joined. Me as well. I've always loved violet. Soon, a dozen young clouds hovered near Sarah, glowing faintly with color. Green, gold, pink, silver. A new movement had begun. Sarah looked around, stunned. And in that moment, the storm broke. The council didn't disappear, but they stepped back, watching. Cumulo's voice, heavy and slow, echoed through the skies. The world is changing, so perhaps the sky must change too. Questions for you. Have you ever stood up for something even when others disagreed? Would you have joined Sarah or stayed silent? English learning tip. Learn useful expressions of courage. She stayed firm. She spoke into the wind. A new movement had begun. Try writing. I stayed firm even when it was difficult. Lesson. When you dare to be yourself, you give others permission to do the same. Quote of the part. The world is changing. So perhaps the sky must change too. A storm of doubt has turned into a sky of hope. But Sarah's greatest creation is still ahead. Don't miss part 7 of The Cloud That Painted the Sky. If you've ever been brave when it mattered most, this chapter is your victory too. Comment your thoughts and subscribe to Epic English Stories for the next heart-brightening part. Part 7. Samshyasikshi, the sky. We choose Sarah, and her fellow color clouds drifted together. For the first time in sky history, clouds were creating color together, not as a rule, not as rebellion, but as a choice. Soft blushes of pink rose in the east, while streaks of silver and emerald danced over the western hills. Even the winds calmed to admire the display. Below, entire villages gathered just to watch the sky. One little boy, standing on a rooftop, clapped his hands and shouted, "The sky is singing again!" Sarah smiled, her body glowing with soft gold. But deep down, she knew one thing was still unfinished. She had to face the council, and this time, not as a mistake or a child cloud, but as a leader of something new. The meeting was held in the oldest part of the sky, a place where air shimmered with silence. Sarah arrived not alone, but with a gentle line of other clouds behind her. Color trailed in their wake. Cumula and the rest of the council waited. Their forms were still dark, their voices unreadable. Sarah hovered forward. "I come not to ask for permission," she said softly, "but to share a truth." She took a deep breath and continued. Clouds have always followed rules, to rain, to shade, to storm. But we forgot something. We forgot to feel. And when we feel, we create. That's not chaos, that's connection. She floated higher, glowing brighter. Every stroke of color tells a story: a child's laugh, a farmer's hope, a widow's memory, a traveler's courage. If we can bring that to the sky, why shouldn't we? The air was still. Then, softly, Cumulo's voice broke the silence. We feared change, I. Sierra waited. Because we never imagined it could be beautiful. And then, he bowed. One by one, the other council clouds followed. In that single moment, the sky changed, not just in color, but in purpose. From that day forward, clouds could choose to shade, to storm, or to paint. Questions for you. What would you choose to paint in the sky if you could? What truth in your heart are you ready to share with the world? English learning tip. Practice using strong declaration phrases like, I come not to ask for permission, and we forgot to feel. These help your speech sound powerful and poetic. Lesson. True change doesn't come from breaking rules. It comes from reminding the world what it has forgotten. Quote of the part. Every stroke of color tells a story. A child's laugh, a farmer's hope, a widow's memory. The council has listened. The skies have changed. But Sirra's final creation, the masterpiece, still waits. Don't miss part 8 of The Cloud That Painted the Sky. If this story has touched your heart, let us know in the comments and subscribe to Epic English Stories so you never miss a single color. Part 8. The Masterpiece Above Us. All a week passed. The skies around the world began to change. Clouds no longer just floated, they expressed. Some drifted with soft strokes of pink, telling stories of love. Others danced with streaks of violet and green, reflecting laughter and music. And high above them all, Sierra watched with wonder. But something inside her whispered that her journey wasn't finished. She had one more gift to give, one that would live beyond storms and sunsets, one that every person could carry, not in their eyes, but in their hearts. That night, Sierra floated to the highest part of the sky, higher than she'd ever gone. Stars shimmered like secrets, and moonlight spilled softly across her shape. She closed her eyes and painted, not with gold, not with pink, but with everything. She poured into the sky every emotion she had ever felt: joy, doubt, fear, wonder, sadness, courage, peace, love. And with each stroke, the sky pulsed with life. It wasn't just color, it was memory. A farmer looking up suddenly remembered the song his wife used to hum. A lonely traveler felt her grandmother's voice, warm and alive in her chest. A little girl saw the masterpiece and whispered, "That's what hope looks like." The painting had no name. It didn't need one. But people across the world began calling it the sky that feels. It stretched across oceans and deserts. It wrapped around mountains and cities. For one whole day and night, the world paused, not to scroll or run or buy, but to feel. And for the first time in forever, the earth and sky breathed in harmony. When the masterpiece faded softly into dawn, Sierra floated in peace. Her body was dim now, soft as mist. Aura appeared beside her once more. "You've given them more than color," Aura whispered. "You gave them meaning." Sierra smiled. "I gave them myself." And with that, she slowly drifted into the wind, not vanishing, but becoming part of every cloud that would ever paint again. Questions for you. What masterpiece are you creating with your life? What feeling do you most want others to remember you for? English learning tip. Try writing your own cloud story using emotional words: peace, courage, wonder, hope. Use them in simple sentences. She painted with peace. He drifted through courage. Lesson. The most beautiful things we create are not what people see, but what they feel and carry within. Quote of the part, I gave them myself. The story of Sarah, the cloud who painted the sky, may have ended, but her colors live on in you. What will you create? What sky will you paint with your words, your dreams, your love? If this story has touched you, please share your thoughts in the comments. Tell us how it made you feel. And if you're learning English through stories, never stop. Because stories are how the heart learns to speak. Subscribe to Epic English Stories for more heart-opening tales like this one. And remember, you don't need wings to touch the sky. You just need color, courage, and a little bit of you. Epilogue. The little cloud below. Years passed. Children grew up. Towns expanded. The skies still changed, but not always in bursts of color. Most days were ordinary, blue, gray, white. But once in a while, when the wind turned gentle and the horizon whispered softly, something rare would appear. A single cloud, glowing faintly with impossible color. It never looked the same twice. Sometimes gold with threads of violet, sometimes soft blue with hints of ember, sometimes barely visible, but undeniably felt. People didn't always notice, but one day, a little girl named Elia stood alone in a wide field. She had been feeling lost, not because she was far from home, but because she wasn't sure who she was becoming. She lay down in the grass, eyes to the sky. That's when she saw it, a glowing, trembling cloud. So small, it could fit in the palm of her hand. It drifted toward her. And somehow, she knew its name. Sira, she whispered. The cloud shimmered gently, like a smile. Elia sat up. Are you here to paint again? No answer came, not in words, but in color. A soft stroke of orange traced across the sky, then silver, then a hue she couldn't name, but made her feel safe and brave and alive. Sira didn't stay long, but before she drifted upward, she brushed against Elia's chest, right above her heart. And from that day on, whenever Elia closed her eyes and listened closely, she heard it. The sky speaking not in thunder or rain, but in color, in memory, in her. Final questions for you. What would your heart paint in the sky? Have you ever felt something you couldn't explain, but knew was real? Final English learning tip. Try writing a diary entry in English from Elia's point of view. What did she see? What did she feel? This exercise helps build emotional vocabulary and brings your English to life. Final lesson. Stories never truly end. They live in the ones who listen and in those brave enough to feel. Final. Quote. She heard the sky speaking not in thunder or rain, but in color, in memory, in her. Thank you for reading The Cloud That Painted the Sky. If this story touched your heart, please leave a comment. If you're learning English, remember this. You are not just learning a language. You are learning to feel more deeply, to speak your truth, and to color the sky of your own life. Subscribe to Epic English Stories for more beautiful tales. Because stories teach more than English. They teach you. Keep painting. Keep dreaming.